Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really ancient story, one that I think profoundly unpacks, well, conflict, consequences.
And compassion too, right? It's got it all.
Exactly. We're looking at more than just, history. It's a narrative that shows a pretty powerful universal truth.
Yeah, about how these cycles of, let's say, animosity, how they start, how they escalate.
And crucially, how they can actually be broken, which is the hopeful part.
Definitely. And the source material for this, it's an old Buddhist text. It's called Kāliyakkhiniya, uppattivatthu.
Which means?
Basically, the story of the origin of Kāliyakkhini. It's quite a mouthful, but a very vivid story. Surprising, too.
So our mission today really is to pull out the key insights from this, well, fairly wild narrative. We want to show you how this chain of vengeance, it spans lifetimes.
And ultimately lands on this deep lesson about peace. And even, unexpectedly, prosperity.
Yeah, quite the twist. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this. So the story starts in ancient times. Pretty normal scene, actually. A family, a son who's taken over after his father passed.
Right, a devoted householder's son. He's managing the affairs, looking after his mother. Seems okay on the surface.
But the mother's worried.
Yeah, she's got this nagging concern. She really pushes him to get married.
Hey, why the push? He seems reluctant at first, doesn't want to burden her.
Well, it's not just about him having a companion. It's deeper than that in this context. It's about the family lineage.
Ah, okay. Keeping the family name going.
Exactly. That's crucial. She feels, restless with him doing everything alone. She thinks a wife is needed for stability, for the future.
So he agrees eventually. And he chooses the first wife himself.
He does, but then, there's a problem. A big one for them.
She's barren.
Yes. And this immediately throws a wrench in the works, especially for the mother's plans.
You can imagine the pressure. So the mother doubles down.
Pretty much. She insists again, we need another wife, explicitly stating it's to stop the family line from ending. Very pragmatic, if maybe tough emotionally.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? The first wife, the barren one, she overhears this plan.
Yes, and you can just feel the fear. It's not just jealousy, it's fear of losing her place, her status.
She thinks she'll be treated like a servant. That's a powerful fear.
Absolutely. And that fear, that desperation, it twists into this really cunning plan. It shows how fear can drive terrible actions.
What does she do?
She decides to take control. She actually goes out and finds a second wife herself.
Wow. Okay.
And she promises the new bride's family, hey, if she has a son, she'll be the head of the household, trying to manage the situation,
The calculated move. But does it work out? Does her attitude change once the new wife arrives?
Not at all. That fear, it just curdles into, active malice.
The text is pretty clear about her thoughts, isn't it?
Chillingly clear. She thinks, if this one has a child, she will be the mistress. I have to stop her having a child. It's gone way beyond self-preservation now.
So how does she try to stop it?
She starts secretly mixing abortifacient medicine into the second wife's food when the second wife gets pregnant.
Oh, well, that's dark.
And she does it twice. 2 pregnancies are lost because of this. Just devastating.
Does anyone notice? Does the second wife suspect anything?
Well, eventually, the community, the neighboring women, they start to notice. They question the second wife. Like, what's going on here?
Good neighbors.
Yeah. And they advise her, look, if you get pregnant again, don't tell the first wife. They sense something's wrong.
But she does get pregnant a third time. And the first wife finds out anyway.
She does. And the discovery just unleashes this rage. The first wife, fueled by jealousy and maybe her own suffering, attempts a late-term abortion.
Oh, no.
It goes horribly wrong. The text says the fetus lodges crosswise. The second wife is brought to the verge of death. This is really the point of no return in this life.
And this is where the cycle really kicks off, with that first vow.
Exactly. The second wife, dying, full of pain and anger, makes this terrible wish.
What does she say?
She says, you destroyed my 3 children. From now on, may I be reborn as a yakkhiṇī. That's a kind of demoness. Capable of devouring your children.
Wow. Intense. And she dies right after.
Almost immediately. And the text says she's instantly reborn as a cat in the very same house. The curse takes effect right away.
And what about the first wife? The one who caused all this?
Well, the husband finds out what she did about destroying his lineage as he sees it. He beats her severely.
And she dies from that.
Yes, she dies from the injuries. And then she is reborn as a hen, also in the same house.
So they're both back in the same place, but as animals.
Yeah.
And the roles are flipped now.
Completely flipped. The victim is now the predator, in a way. The cycle of vengeance has begun.
So the former second wife, what does she do?
Predictably, she goes after the former first wife, specifically her eggs.
Let me guess, 3 times.
You got it. Eats the hen's eggs 3 times. Direct payback for the 3 lost children. The pattern is clear.
So the hen suffers, dies, and makes her own vow.
Exactly. As she's dying, she wishes to be reborn to devour your children. She comes back as a leopardess.
Okay, escalating. And the cat.
The cat, presumably having died, is reborn as a deer.
So now we have a leopardess and a deer.
Each-
Still predator and prey.
And the cycle repeats, but even more violently. The leopardess, the former hen, hunts down the deer's fawns.
3 times.
3 times, eats the fawns. It's just relentless, this tit-for-tat vengeance across lifetimes.
The poor deer. Okay. So she dies and makes the final vow in this chain.
The final desperate vow, same wish. May I be reborn to devour your children. She dies and is reborn as a yakkhiṇī, the demoness she originally vowed to become.
And the leopardess, her rival.
She is reborn as a human again, a noble woman living in a city called Sabathi.
So one is a demoness driven by ancient hatred. The other is a human, noble woman, seemingly unaware of this past.
Precisely. But the past isn't done with her.
The yakkhiṇī comes back.
She does, in her demon form. And she finds the noble woman, her old rival, and devours her first child.
Oh, horrific.
And then the second child, too. The cycle has crossed species, spanned lifetimes, and it's reached this terrifying peak.
The poor noble woman must be absolutely terrified. What does she do?
Well, when she's pregnant with her third child, she decides she has to escape. She flees to her parents' home, hoping to give birth there, away from the yakkhiṇī.
A desperate hope. Does the yakkhiṇī follow?
Oh, yes. The text adds this detail. The yakkhiṇī had just finished some really hard, divine chore for a god named Vesavana.
Carrying water, wasn't it? Exhausting work.
Incredibly exhausting. But the moment she's free, despite being worn out, that vengeful fury just drives her. She races after the noblewoman. It shows how powerful that hate is.
So the confrontation is inevitable.
It seems so. The noblewoman is heading back home, holding her newborn baby, and she spots the yakkhiṇī coming for her.
Pure terror. What does she do?
She runs for her life straight into a nearby monastery where the Buddha is staying.
Seeking refuge.
Yes. And in that moment of sheer panic, she does something symbolic. She places her baby right at the Buddha's feet.
And says,
She pleads, I give this child to you. Give life to my son. An act of desperation, but also maybe a surrender. Trust.
does the yakkhiṇī get in?
She tries, but the story says a divine gatekeeper, Sumanadeva, stops her at the entrance. She can't enter.
So the Buddha intervenes directly.
Yes. He summons the yakkhiṇī, brings her before him, and the noblewoman too, presumably.
And what does he say to them? This is the core teaching moment, right?
It absolutely is. He asks the yakkhiṇī basically, why? Why are you doing this?
Does he explain the history to them?
He points out the depth of their hatred. He says, look, without this intervention, your enmity, this back and forth, it would have gone on for an eon, like the hatred between, classic enemies, snakes and mongooses, crows and owls.
He's showing them the endless cycle they're trapped in.
Exactly. And then he delivers the key teaching, the verse.
Which is?
Hatred is never appeased by hatred anywhere. It is appeased by non-hatred. This is an eternal law.
Let's break that down. Hatred is never appeased by hatred.
Right. It's like you can't wash dirt off with more dirt. It just makes a bigger mess. Adding hatred to hatred only fuels the fire, makes it worse.
Like throwing gasoline on it.
Precisely. It never resolves anything, just perpetuates the suffering.
Okay, part 2. It is appeased by non-hatred.
This is the solution. Like washing the dirt off with clean water. Only non-hatred, things like patience, loving kindness, forgiveness, wise reflection, only these can actually dissolve hatred.
Not fighting back with the same weapon.
No. It requires a completely different approach, a transformation of the heart, really.
And the final line. This is an eternal law.
Yeah, he emphasizes this isn't just his opinion. It's a fundamental principle, the way things are, the path that all Buddhas, all enlightened beings recognize and follow. It's timeless.
What's the impact of this teaching on the yakkhiṇī? Does it get through?
Instantly. It's described as this profound, immediate shift. The text says she attains stream entry.
Which is a big deal in Buddhism, right? First stage of awakening.
A very big deal. She gets a direct glimpse of the ultimate truth, and her future enlightenment is guaranteed. The root of that eons-long hatred is essentially cut.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So the hatred is gone. What happens next? The Buddha does something quite surprising, doesn't he?
He does. He tells the noblewoman, okay, now give the child to the yakkhi.
Wait, give the baby to the demoness who just moments ago wanted to eat it. That takes some trust.
Huge trust. The noblewoman is understandably terrified at first, but she does it. She follows the Buddha's instruction.
And the yakkhi. What does she do with the baby?
This is the moving part. She takes the baby, holds it, kisses it, cuddles it, and then gently gives it back to the mother.
Wow.
And then the yakkhi starts to weep, just breaks down crying.
Tears of remorse. Relief.
Probably all of that. A complete release from that burden of hate she carried for so long, a total change of heart.
But then she has a practical problem, right?
Yeah, amidst the tears, she asks the Buddha, but how will I survive now?
Because her previous livelihood was, well...
Exactly. Eating children. Living hand to mouth, as the text says. That way of life is gone. She needs a new one.
What's the Buddha's solution?
Compassionate and practical. He turns to the noblewoman and says, take her into your home. Look after her. Give her good food, gruel.
So the former enemies are now going to live together.
That's the instruction. From predator and prey to, well, housemates. It's about integrating the change, providing support.
Does the yakkhi settle in easily?
No. Well, there's this slightly amusing section where she's quite picky about where she'll stay in the house.
Oh, yeah. What's wrong with the spots offered?
She rejects the mortar said too much pounding. The water pot area might get splashed with dirty water. The hearth dogs might sleep there. Mango kernel heap kids might, relieve themselves there. Rubbish heap, obviously not. Even the village gate, too noisy with kids playing.
So she's concerned about comfort and cleanliness now. Quite the change.
It really is. It shows her new state of mind, perhaps.
Yeah.
Anyway, they finally find her a quiet, secluded spot just outside the village.
And the noblewoman keeps her promise. Takes care of her.
Yes, provides her with food regularly, shows sustained compassion.
And does the yakkhi remain passive? Just receiving help?
No, this is the next beautiful turn. Gratitude kicks in. The yakkhi thinks, my friend here has been so helpful, I should do something good for her in return.
So she finds a way to contribute.
Yes. She starts using some, perhaps, residual insight or connection to nature. She advises the noblewoman about farming.
Ow.
She predicts the rainfall, tells her, this year will be good rain, plant low, or this year, bad rain, plant high. Gives her specific agricultural advice.
Does it work?
Amazingly well. While everyone else's crops are suffering from too much water or drought, the noblewoman's crops, planted according to the yakkhi's advice, flourish immensely.
Wow. From child eater to agricultural consultant.
Quite the career change. And it leads to tangible prosperity. It shows how ending conflict and cultivating kindness can actually bear real fruit, even materially.
Do other people notice the success?
Of course. The villagers are like, how are your crops doing so well when ours are failing?
And the noblewoman tells them.
She credits the yakkhi, tells them about her guidance.
How do the villagers react to that? Honoring a former demoness.
It seems they do. Soon, the whole city starts respecting the yakkhi, bringing her offerings, seeking her advice. Her transformation benefits the entire community.
That's incredible. So she becomes prosperous and respected.
Yes. Gains many followers, oversees the farming practices. And the story says she established these 8 permanent alms meals, like charities, that were still being given even today, meaning when the text was recorded.
What a legacy. From a cycle of hate to a source of enduring generosity and prosperity.
It's a powerful arc. Individual transformation leading to widespread community well-being.
So just to recap this incredible deep dive, we started with a seemingly small family issue,
which spiraled into lifetimes of intense, brutal hatred and violence, crossing species even.
Yeah. But then we saw the intervention of wisdom, of compassion, the Buddha's teaching.
Showing the absolute power of that teaching to just cut through eons of conflict.
And transform not just the 2 main figures, but ripple outwards to benefit the whole community.
Absolutely. It hammers home that core message again. Hatred is just a dead end.
You can't solve it with more hatred. It just feeds itself.
The only way out, the only way to really end it is through its opposite. Non-hatred, patience, kindness, understanding, that clear water.
So for you listening, maybe think about how this ancient story, connects with things we see today. Conflicts in our own lives or out there in the world.
Yeah. Are there situations where maybe we or others are trying to clean that filth with more filth, trying to fight fire with fire?
And what might that clear water, that non-hatred approach look like in those situations? What could it unlock? Maybe even unexpected flourishing.
It's a potent question. This story of Kāliyakkhiniya, it's not just some old myth. It feels like a A blueprint, almost.
A blueprint for breaking those destructive patterns, for building something genuinely better.
Definitely something to reflect on.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope it gives you something valuable to consider as you continue your own explorations.